This is an Empty Closet Radio podcast. Get more at facebook.com/emptyclosetradio. It's so camp.
Stop laughing at me. It's not even funny.
Yes, it is.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Sam.
And this is The Empty Closet.
The show for everyone, whether you're in the closet
Or out and proud.
or somewhere in between.
101.9 Coast FM. You're in The Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. Sam, we've got a pretty jam-packed show today. I went to go and see a movie for the first time in forever. I feel like there's a song in that. So we're going to talk about that. And also we're going to talk about the massive day that today represents for the general Australian population.
Yay, rainbows and unicorns and weddings everywhere.
Yeah, well, weddings everywhere might be a slight exaggeration, but it is a very special day for people who want to get married. I love that. Do you like the bitterness in my voice? People who want to get married.
So, speaking of that, we're going to have dating tips for Andrew while he's away.
Not that I'm seriously thinking that while I'm away anything is going to happen, but I'm always open for a few tips. And we've also got upcoming events, and we're going to be chatting with a few little guests. Sam, stop laughing at me. It's not even funny.
It was kind of filthy, Andrew.
I'm never filthy, Sam. Never. I'm sweet and innocent.
You're a terrible liar is what you are.
You can catch up with all of my previous antics. If you look up our podcast, just open up the podcasting app on your phone, search for Empty Closet Radio, hit the subscribe button, and then maybe you'll know what Sam's talking about if you listen to some of our past episodes. If you are more a social media kind of person, then look for us on the Big Blue Book of Faces. Just search for Empty Closet Radio, hit the like button, and you'll be kept up to date. And if you have the blue tweeting bird, just search for @emptycloset_AU. Is that right? No, it's @emptyclosetradio_AU.
You had it right the first time. @emptycloset_AU, all lowercase.
This is why I let Sam do that bit normally.
You're on 101.9 Coast FM. You're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam.
Empty Closet Radio. Listen to us using your TuneIn radio app on your smartphone. Very smart.
Sam, I did something this week that I have not done in a very long time. You would be so proud of me because I know that you absolutely love films. In fact, you did some study of film, didn't you?
Yeah, I took my electives at university when I was doing medical things in film and telly, and I got the best marks in class, and all the art students were angry at me.
Well, that's because you knew how a real blood splatter was supposed to look.
It's probably also because I was like, I understand why you want to put that in for dramatic tension, but that's not how physics works.
Screw physics, that doesn't matter. So I went to go and see this movie that is about a circus. And I understand it's I'm not sure whether it's a true story or not. It was very drama, so I assume it wasn't a true story. But it's essentially a musical, a stage show musical that has then been made into a movie, and all the things that you can do on stage, they do, but then all the things that you can achieve in a film, all those amazing close-ups and stuff, they use and abuse every technique possible to make this amazing magical fairyland of circusness. It was really good, Sam.
So what made you go and see it?
You mean apart from Hugh Jackman being in it, or?
So the Hugh Jackman made you go and see it?
No, actually, that's not entirely true. Although he's very good in it. The whole thing could just basically be it's 50% Boy from Oz, 50% circus from, you remember Britney Spears' Circus album from all those years ago? I assume they started making this film at the same time as the Circus album, except the movie just took longer than they expected.
Why would you assume that? weird thing to assume.
It's very similar. Very similar.
So what was it like?
What, Britney Spears album?
Aside from Britney Spears' album, what was the movie like?
It was actually really good. So the storyline was really positive. So the reason why I went to go and see it is because I heard one of the songs from it. And of course, with the musical, basically, like, one good track is enough to, like, suck you in. So I heard one song from it, which we're going to play in a minute. And it's called This Is Me. And then I thought, oh, that was pretty good. I like the thinking and the lyrics that are in that song, because it's all about positivity and about, like, this is who I am without any reservation, and, like, I'm proud of who I am. And I thought that sounds like a really good positive sort of thing. And then I listened to the rest of the album, the rest of the soundtrack, and I thought all these songs are really quite positive. And then I thought, and I was talking with one of the girls at work, and she was like, oh, I just went to go and see this movie. And I was like, what movie? Of course. And it was this movie. So she said it was pretty good, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I went along to go and see it, and it's amazing. But in the interests of being a critical review, I must say there was one or two points there where I thought that the lip sync was out with the songs and the vision.
See, this is something that's depending on my mood, is either something I really laugh at or is a pet hate. When you can tell that the singing or the instrument playing is very obviously not happening, either because it's not syncing up right or because they've added it later or whatever, and it looks really fake. Like, and sometimes you laugh and sometimes you're like, production values.
I must say, like, that was my tiniest bugbear. Like, the whole rest of it was pretty amazing. There was some characters that didn't really get explored as much as they could have explored or explained. Like, they had this like, you know how circuses are always famous for, like, the bearded lady kind of thing, right? So they had a bearded lady, but they, like, didn't explain. She's one of the core characters, but they didn't explain what the deal was. Like, they didn't explain, like, who she was properly. And I think it probably could have been a bit better if they did explain some of the backstory of some of the characters a bit more. But essentially the whole story is all about Hugh Jackman's character. It's all about him.
And I'm sure that was such a difficult thing for you to sit through.
It was really hard. Is this really bad, Sam, if I say that I particularly liked the scene where he cried?
I don't think so. Although it might depend on why you really liked it.
It wasn't because there was a grown man crying. It was because he was crying because he realized that he'd done the wrong thing, and that he wanted to, like, make it up to his family. Oh, it was amazing. And this whole thing, right? There's like 3 parallel love stories that go on through the film. And amazingly enough, for a film made in 2017, there's literally no sex. No sex at all.
Hooray!
Actually very refreshing, mind you. Very refreshing. There's, like, literally not even, like, I think there was maybe, like, 2 kisses in the whole movie.
If you want that nowadays, you have to watch, Pixar or something.
Yeah, you have to watch a movie about cartoon characters for them not to have sex.
It's pretty distressing.
Very distressing. You're on 101.9 Coast FM in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken part.
Empty Closet Radio. Like us on Facebook.
101.9 Coast FM, you're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. Now, joining us on the line, I've got another Sam. How confusing, Sam. Now, Sam is a celebrant and is, to my understanding, very excited about being able to perform a particular type of marriage ceremony now.
Absolutely. I'm more than excited. And, of course, today is the official day of anybody that went with the traditional 1 month, unless it was a shortening, of course. So today is an extremely special day, and I'm very, very excited.
And so if someone had chosen to get their notice period shortened or expedited, then they could have potentially had a marriage before today. And I understand that have you done a same-gendered marriage before today?
No, I haven't. I've done a lot of same-sex commitment ceremonies, and a couple of those couples were really holding out and hoping that it would have been through when their date was done last year. So I've said to them that I will perform their legal marriage when it comes through. So I've got a couple of girls that are waiting like any day now to do it. So we just we haven't set a date with that one, but I've got 6 bookings already, and I'm so excited.
There's been a lot of talk, particularly in the Cairns region, about there being a flood of same-sex marriages and the amount of money that it might bring into the economy. I might disclose now, I'm a little bit of a skeptic about how much money it might flow into the economy here. What has your feeling been based on like your inquiries and stuff? Have you seen a big uptick for same-sex couples?
It's interesting because I think that there has been that vibe that people think that everyone is, on poised, ready to get engaged and married. And I think it will be lowish. I don't think that there will be, an avalanche of weddings as such. And it's interesting because a lot of people are very aware of where I'm from here in Coffs Harbour on the mid-north coast, are very aware of my stance on it. I've been very public here in Coffs Harbour. And so many people have come up to me, oh, you're going to be flat out, you're going to be busy, you're going to be booked out. But it's interesting, I'm getting inquiries and bookings, but majority of my bookings are already set in place for this year as it is. But like I say, I've had 6 already, which I'm very excited about, and really interesting, fun themed ones as well. Like, I'm just really excited with the whole prospect of doing the same-sex marriages. I just think it'll be great. I just feel like there's going to be some more creative type of weddings, and I'm just excited for doing them.
Well, I suppose it's actually interesting you should suggest themed wedding ceremonies, because I feel like same-gendered couples for so long have had to redefine what a relationship looks like for them, that why wouldn't the same be true of the ceremony that they have when they do get married? What does it look like for them? Are you allowed to share some of the themes or that you've come across?
Oh, sure. So I do have some guys who are just gorgeous that have booked with me, and they're going to do a bit of a Lord of the Rings type of one that I think will be great. Then again, in saying that, the 2 girls that I was talking about, so we're going to do theirs quite soon, they just want to have a really beautiful, simple beach wedding. And I mean, of course, a bit like Cairns, I would imagine, it lends itself to those gorgeous beach resort type weddings here on the mid-north coast anyway. So, but that's one that I think will be so fun. In saying that, I've done all sorts of different weddings as well for heterosexual couples too. There's always a point of difference with all of them, and it's just such a fun profession to be in.
Oh, it's all very exciting times. We're going to play a track, and we will be back right after this.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me.
Empty Closet Radio, because no one else wants to be stuck in the closet. Go on.
Coast FM in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. Now,
And Sam.
Oh yes, there's Andrew, Sam, and Sam. I'm totally outnumbered today. We do have Sam, who's always here on the Empty Closet, but we also have Sam, who is a wedding celebrant, or marriage celebrant, I should say, down in Coffs Harbour. Thank you for joining us in the closet. It's been very interesting hearing about different people's wedding plans. Now, there is a little part of me that is very curious about the new legislation and the actual mechanism, the wording. Has the wording changed?
Yes, and I am really excited to say that the wording changed on the 9th of December. So from that day onwards, what was fabulous, of course, is that anybody that had been married outside of Australia that in a same-sex relationship were automatically recognised as married in Australia. So I thought that's amazing. But the couple I married on that exact day, on the 9th, they were very pro-marriage equality people anyway, and they were thrilled because they were going to have in their wedding, if it hadn't come through, they were going to say that how strongly they felt about it, but they didn't have to, and they were so excited that I could say the words for the first time. So what changed is the monotum that we have to say that makes the wedding lawful is I have to say marriage according to law in Australia is the union of a man and a woman, and what changed, which I love saying now, is marriage according to law in Australia is the union of two people.
It seems like a very pragmatic change.
Yeah, I know, and it was just, and I don't think, the funny part about it all is, there's been so much upheaval with this whole discussion and the whole, it's the whole fight with the marriage equality, and at the end of the day, that's a very simple change, isn't it? And it's I don't think even people would be even noticing too much.
So we just spent, what was it, $27 million to change a couple of words?
80 million.
Oh, 80. Ooh, I totally underestimate it. To change, 4 words?
I know, and really, at the end of the day, that's besides, the actual, human equality side of it all, which is important, that's the only word changing that happened. But our forms have changed as well. So from that day, the 9th of December, we do have new forms that we are now, the notice of intended marriage is now, instead of having bride, groom and bride, it's like party 1, party 2, and then we have to tick what you want to be referred to as in bride, groom, or partner.
Oh, that's cool. So you can just opt for the partner option. That would be, have many people taken that up, or have we fought too hard to have those words?
No, that will be, and I think that will be with the notice of intended marriage. That's going to be used a lot. And then they've added another line in there too, and they've got sex, male, female, or X, if you don't want to, put down or identify. So I think that's really cool in the form as well.
Well, that will certainly help our friends who are maybe trans or going through kind of gender identity stuff.
Or intersex or agender.
Yep, I think it's really good. So it's opened up all those different options in the paperwork as well. So I think it's just going to be really fun to see what people are going to do, because the good thing about it, of having a civil ceremony, is that you've got so much choice. You can do absolutely anything. You've only got to have that wording, that paragraph that I've just sort of said, the wording that's changed. You've got to say some formal vows, and then the celebrant's got to mention their name. But outside of that, it's got so much flexibility. You can do whatever you want.
Well, that's settled then, Sam. I'm going to have a laser skirmish, and then at the end, when we all capture the flag, that's when we'll say the magic words. So will I be doing the honours in July, will I? Well, she's got to find a husband before then, doesn't she?
I can't wait to meet you guys in person, by the way. I think your show is fantastic, and I do listen to it. And I was introduced through my son, Ben, to your show. So I've been to a few of your podcasts as well.
Oh, well, look, we love extra fans. Tell all your friends to download our podcast as well. We absolutely love extra followers. And you'll find out more of my personal life than usually I am aware of.
More than it's on Facebook, you mean?
There is more of it than is on Facebook. Yeah, that's true. Sam, thank you so much for coming on The Empty Closet today. We'll be right back after this. We're going to play some music.
Empty Closet Radio, facebook.com/Empty Closet Radio.
101.9 Coast FM, you're in The Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. It's no secret that I'm super excited about going on holidays.
It's not even an open secret. You're broadcasting about it every day.
Well, yeah, I am.
Literally, you're posting photos with the number of sleeps. It's pretty great.
I'm like a child before Christmas.
Yes. So, what do you need to prepare for before you go? What's left to do?
Well, I need to pack my bag and do a few things like that. And I was down at Quack today packing condoms, and one of the ladies at Quack was like, "You might need to take some of these with you on holidays." And I thought, oh, maybe I do. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, do I? Because I haven't, this is probably no secret to anyone either, but I haven't used condoms since I started on PrEP. Like, I very rarely use them. And Sam, get your judging face off. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, maybe if I'm traveling overseas, like, is that something that I need to think about changing my behavior for while I travel?
I mean, I personally think you should probably look at changing your behavior long term in this situation, because PrEP only protects you against HIV. It does not protect you against hepatitis or gonorrhea or syphilis or, anything that you can transmit sexually otherwise.
Well, yes, I did have nightmares about catching gonorrhea and losing a week of my holiday.
But what if you get the drug-resistant gonorrhea and you can't treat it?
That's so unlikely, Sam. Why are you looking at me like that?
You're a terrible, terrible person about talking about risk strategy. So for those of you out there listening who might think that Andrew's reasoning is sound with their sexual health, I'm not giving you back the microphone yet. No. Do not do what Andrew does. Do not go, I'm on PrEP, so I don't need to use barrier protection, because none of the other STIs matter to me. No. Bad thinking. Broken thinking. Use protection. Use barrier protection.
But what about, if you give someone a blowjob? I don't know anyone who uses a condom when they're doing oral sex.
I do.
Okay, so maybe I know one person.
But regardless, there is the fact that different sex acts have higher risks, and even if you won't mitigate all your behaviour, so what you have now is some mitigation, but the fact of the matter is that penetrative sex is much more likely to result in transmission than, say, mutual handjobs, which can also result in STI transmission, or oral sex. So, there's degrees of this stuff. Although if you come home with a throat infection of gonorrhea, I am going to laugh at you pretty hard.
If I come home and I've got this terrible case of gonorrhea in my throat or wherever it might be, you're going to laugh at me. Thanks, Sam.
Well, would you really have it any other way?
Probably not. No, probably not. But I wonder, so if I'm comfortable about this when I'm at home, why is it so much different when I travel?
It's not necessarily that you should be more protective when you travel. It's probably that you should just actually change your sexual habits at home. But it's also the fact that viruses that you may have been exposed to, or you may have had treated, or you may have some immunity to, there will be different versions in other countries, because that's what viruses do. They evolve much quicker than people do because their lifespan's much shorter.
So what you're saying is globalization hasn't hit viruses yet?
No.
They have a special version overseas. What? It's the same drug that so is that not right? Say for example, because I'm on PrEP. So are you saying that the PrEP treatment that I'm on here could potentially not protect me against a HIV variant that is in one of the far-flung locations that I might be travelling to?
I doubt it, because PrEP functions, the targets on PrEP as of yet can't be found, or are not missing from any HIV strains we know of. But say that, for instance, you've had gonorrhea before, whether you knew it or not, and your immune system has developed antibodies to it, it may not have antibodies to gonorrhea you'll encounter overseas because you haven't seen that strain before. So it's not so much about the treatment, although, as I said, there are drug-resistant strains out there, which means they can't be treated, but it's more about the fact that your immune system is highly tailored, and if you're encountering, and it doesn't even have to be STIs really, but in this case we're talking about STIs, you might encounter versions of herpes that have a different genetic code to whatever version you carry, or so on and so forth. Herpes, for those who've never really thought about it before, are cold sores, but are also, you can have herpes on your genitals or on your face.
And the stats around herpes is that, like, basically everyone has it, so don't freak out.
Yeah, it's not something to panic about. But there's good evidence that says if you have, say, cold sores, that confers protection on getting herpes on your genitals. But if you encounter a different strain or a different genetic variance, then you may have two lots, and that becomes a different problem.
Interesting. Food for thought. You're on 101.9 Coast FM. You're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky.
Empty Closet Radio, because no one wants to be stuck in the closet.
All I know, love is safe today.
101.9 Coast FM. You're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. Sam, there is something that we have not really properly covered when it comes to me going away. And I know that we've talked about the show going to have a little rest. And I know that we've talked about how I need to be safe while I'm over there and, you know, make sure I use proper barrier protection and those sorts of things. I do listen to you, Sam.
And you have a decoy phone and so on and so on.
So now it's time to talk about the real issues. The really important issues, which is I'm about to recreate my profile on the GPS-based hookup app of choice. Actually, I think there's a couple of them, but I might just use one to start with. And I don't know. There's a few very important questions that need to be answered around creating a profile, Sam.
Now, given that I can't remember the last time I created a profile like this, and I've never created one on Grindr or any of the apps that are based towards men seeking sex with other men.
You threw that word at me like a weapon, Sam. The first important question is, when it comes to listing my age, like how old I am, how honest should I really be?
Well, I think that that you should be just honest, but we discussed this briefly before we were recording, and Andrew's like, but I can pass for younger. And in my head, I was thinking, but then if you put your real age, they'll go, oh, he looks all right for that age or whatever. And if, you know, it just seems like it makes more sense.
I don't know if that's how it works. So the reason why this is really important for me is because I'm in my the lower half of my 30s, but I could pass for the upper half of my 20s. So the cutoff is 30 for a lot of people. So it's like, do I put my real age and risk like being not even showing up on the screens of many men? Or do I put an age that's just a slight stretch of the truth and cast my net further?
Now, I guess the thing with this is, are you using your GPS-based hookup apps to hopefully make lifelong friends, or are you just using it to get tips on traveling?
My lifelong friends that I make through these apps will be able to forgive me when I reveal that I'm 10 years older than I said I was.
That's what I'm asking. Do you know, can you keep the facade up? And what if they're fans of the Empty Closet? What will you do then?
Well, if they actually, maybe I should mention the Empty Closet on my profile, and then it's like advertising for the show.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, you have to put your real age, because they'll listen to this and go, he's a lying shit.
Or they might listen to it. They might listen to it and go, oh, they seem like a jovial pair.
I think they'll start lead with lying shit, though.
Oh, shit. Okay. So I feel like I pulled off lying about my age before. Sam, I turned 22 for probably 6 years worth of birthdays, and no one batted an eyelid. No one. Even people who had been at my last 22nd birthday.
Why do you have to give a number at a birthday party?
Well, it got ridiculous at the end because it was a running joke, and my friends just kept making bigger and bigger cakes in the shape of the number 22.
So it wasn't really a lie by the end, it was an in-joke.
It was a real massive gag. So maybe I'm wondering whether I can Sam, I don't understand what's funny. Sam always just laughs at my jokes. I'm not even trying to be funny, Sam.
Anyway, so we've established that you may or may not bend the truth with your age.
And for the rest of the profile, we need to figure out what I'm going to say. So I've written like profiles and things before, but usually it's like for, you know, the more upstanding social media platforms like Twitter, for example, where I introduced myself as, because you only get limited characters, so you have to shorten everything. And I introduced myself as a 20-something. There you go. Lied about my age. Motorbike riding, gay boy partying, rainbow flag flying person.
Not a bad way to do it, but I mean, you could go. I guess it depends on the caliber of person that you're after, and perhaps what you're seeking from your GPS-based hookup app.
It's the same thing I'm always looking for, Sam. All I ask for is very simple.
Tips.
I just want someone who will worship the ground that I walk on.
Yes, but are they doing it in the short term or in the long term? Because that's two different things.
While I'm overseas, the reasonably short term I'm tipping.
So what I'm thinking is you can go the route of you can go the route of innuendo, heavy innuendo, and or not even innuendo. You might have to be explicit because you may not be dealing with English speakers.
I think, yeah, I was thinking like really explicit, like really clear about what I was after.
So excuse my language, but are you thinking something like, you know, Andrew, 20-something? No. Ready for dick. Message, please.
I think the abbreviation for that, Sam, is DTF. I don't think that I would put that abbreviation on I think I'd save that one. It's like in a pack of cards, you know, I'll keep that in my hand of cards and I'll play it at a later date if I get really desperate.
So you're going to put more like your Blue Tweety Bird profile. It's going to be, you know, traveling from Australia, would love tips on what to see and do locally. Message me if you're fun-loving.
Possibly something like that. I think one of the things that I need to address in the profile text, because, I mean, let's be honest, most people don't actually read it, but if somebody's read the whole way at the bottom, it should be like, because I am quite effeminate, and I feel like there's a lot of guys who agree to meet, but then, because they get thrown off by the motorbike, and then when they meet me, they're like, oh, you're not in anything like what my imagination was.
Yeah, but have your display picture as you not on your motorbike.
Oh, I can do that?
You can. Gasp.
I was thinking of maybe putting one with, like, me shirtless, because I think that's the thing to do these days.
Yeah, but if you do it in tiny pants, like tiny pants, because unless you're doing a real muscle-bound thing, that will distract away from the leather motorbike look.
I was just thinking about like cropping it just before the pants begin.
Yeah, but tiny bright pants, that's an indicator of your fabulous rainbowness.
Oh my god, I have some underwear with a big waistband that's like literally a gay rainbow. I'm gonna do those.
Hooray! And then right at the bottom, then you put in brackets DTF.
Maybe. You're on 101.9 Coast FM. You're in the empty closet with Andrew and Sam.
Friday night, my phone is off.
Empty Closet Radio, 9 p.m. Tuesdays, 101.9 Coast FM.
101.9 Coast FM, you're in the empty closet with Andrew and Sam, and joining us on the line is Ricky. Ricky is planning something very innovative for the Cairns LGBT community. Ricky, tell us, what do you have in store?
Well, I've decided that we need to get some bowlers together, that is 10-pin bowlers. I bowl on a weekly basis with some in Cairns, and we decided, well, it was about time we tried to get something going in the gay community. So I approached the bowling centre and said, how about we do this? And they said, yeah, let's do it. So we're getting it up and running very, very soon.
And so is it going to be, when you say it's like a queer bowling league, is it like a team within a larger league, or is it like
going to be a LGBTIQ league that is open to anyone that wants to bowl, be it straight or gay or lesbian or whatever. It'll be a teams league. At the moment, it's only a 2-person per team, and depending on the number of teams we get started as to how long the actual season runs. So it all depends on the number of teams that we have.
And do you have to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, we're looking between 10 to 12, probably about 12 league teams maybe, a couple more if we can squeeze it in, and it will run weekly. So.
And do you have to have played before to be able to participate in the league?
No, absolutely not. It's a handicap league, so if you're a low-scoring bowler or haven't bowled before, you get a handicap, and that helps balance out the whole competition for everyone. So it doesn't mean the good bowlers get to play and win and so forth. The new bowlers get an opportunity to win games and win points and win the competition as well.
Because you've played bowling before, haven't you? What was that like?
I've been bowling since I was 12 years old, so 5 or 10 years. So. But I did start when I was about 12 years old, but gave it away for a little while and started up again when I was living in Melbourne, and we ran a bowling league, a gay bowling league. It was actually a men's bowling league in Melbourne for about 10 years called Gusset Cubs. Don't ask why, please. And no, there's nothing dirty in that. It was basically a gay bear bowling league, and we ran that for 10 years, and then moving up to Cairns, we gave that away and gave bowling up a little bit, but we started bowling again and absolutely loving it. It's so much fun, and it's just a friendly environment, and there's no peer pressure and in the league that I'm in at the moment, it's we're the only gays in that village, and they're all really lovely, and they all accept us, and they're very open and welcoming, and it's great fun.
And so with with what you're doing here in Cairns, it's probably like one of the only queer spaces that we have that is basically not a nightclub or some kind of that doesn't revolve around drinking.
Doesn't revolve around what, sorry?
Doesn't revolve around drinking.
Oh, yes. Well, funnily enough, you can have a drink if you want because they are licensed, but we don't encourage sort of heavy drinking when bowling because you can hurt and injure yourself dropping balls on your bowling balls on yourself. But it is pretty much a dry environment. Not everyone drinks, and I certainly don't drink when I go bowling, but if you choose to have a drink or two during the game, well, that's fine.
I imagine that it would be very, very hard to achieve the points you need if you were a little bit drunk. It would be very hard.
Yeah. It's very hard to bowl really well, although I do know someone who does tend to bowl a little bit better once they've had a couple of white wines, but I won't mention who that is. I'll embarrass them too much.
Oh, well, a lady never tells, isn't that right, Ricky?
And they may well kill me.
So how do people just front up on the day, or how do they get involved?
Okay, what's going to happen is next Tuesday is a get together, an intro, and just a fun bowling night. So you'll come along regularly. If you don't make up a team, if you've got a team of 2, that's fine. If you don't, come along, and we'll help you get yourself into a team, and we'll get that all sorted. Then we'll just have a fun bowl, just 3 games and we'll teach the people some of the people the general rules, because there are some etiquette rules and that sort of thing that we'll teach them. And then the following week we start the competition.
Sounds absolutely fabulous. Thank you for coming and joining us on the air, even just via our phone link. Thank you so much, and hopefully on Tuesday you'll have heaps of people there to bowl.
Well, hopefully we do. And just so people know where it is, it's at Go Bowling in Manunda, just on P Street. So easy to find.
Absolutely, and we're going to post up the details onto our social media page so you can check it out and get yourself all sorted out with how to find out more information. So check out our social media, just search for Empty Closet Radio and hit the like button. Ricky, thank you so much for coming on The Empty Closet.
I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet.
Empty Closet Radio. Follow us on Twitter.
Holding me back.
101.9 Coast FM. You're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam. Sam, this has been our second last episode before we take a little break. So it's really important because I know that everybody wants to get their weekly fix of the Empty Closet. It's really important that everybody goes on to their podcasting app, looks for the Empty Closet Radio, hits the like button or the subscribe button, and you'll be kept up to date with all of our past episodes. So there's like 160 something of them up there. You could literally have a new one every week for like years. So make sure you go and do that.
Funny that, because we've been going for years now.
Yeah, exactly. You can go back and listen to all of our amazing hard work and all the gossip.
Now, if you do want to catch up with us, otherwise you can look for us on social media. So on the Big Blue Book of Faces, you look for Empty Closet Radio and you hit the like button. Or if you want to find us on the Blue Tweety Bird, we're at emptycloset_AU, all lowercase.
You're on 101.9 Coast FM. You're in the Empty Closet with Andrew and Sam.
Thanks for listening to The Empty Closet, brought to you by 1019 Coast FM Cairns.